Okay, guys. So I wanted to do a 6-month update of how life has been and the struggles that come with being a first-time mum. So the first kind of month or two is really, really tough because you literally have no idea what you're doing. And your body is recovering from birth, and that doesn't matter whether you've had a C-section or a natural birth. I had an emergency C-section, so it was rough. I obviously haven't had a vaginal birth, but from a lot of people's feedback, C-section's recovery is a bit harder because it's longer and you can't do as much as you could with a vaginal birth. So those months are really rubbish. You really want to have the energy to be excited and play with your baby and do all of those things, but you really have no energy. I'd say the also really hard thing is if you don't have a husband or partner that can support you for a month or two, it really sucks. So my husband took, I think, 3 or 4 weeks off. He took the 2 statutory maternity and he took 2 weeks off annual leave. Now we're really lucky he's got the opportunity to do that.
That sounds fun. Where was that?
Was it not? Is that not true? You definitely took more than 2 weeks off. I think it's so long ago he can't remember. So stop interrupting my video. Yeah, so he basically did that, and he had to because I had a rough birth. I got an infection.
Say no more.
My husband's on a call and he didn't think to shut the door. That was dangerous, Solaris. So, let me start again. So that was kind of how it's the first four weeks of giving birth went. And then it gets really nice because you fall into this pattern of people coming to help. This is my experience anyway. If you don't have the support system around you, try and build one or put measures in place to support yourself before you have the baby. Like pre-cook loads of food. You don't want to cook. Cooking is the last thing you want to do. And if you don't have somebody in your life that can cook for you, that sucks because you don't want to be eating takeaways and rubbish food all the time because you feel rubbish anyway. And then it's just a cyclical cycle of rubbish food. And then we've got the next kind of few months, which are I made an effort to go for walks, go to the gym, do things with Solaris, and I think that made such a difference to life at that time. But the last few months have been tough. So when it got to about 4 months, everybody would talk about this sleep regression. And I was like, what are you talking about, sleep regression? It'll be fine. Oh, God. And I don't think she actually had a sleep regression she wasn't going to have one, and if it wasn't for having her 3rd set of jabs. Now, she was due her 3rd set of jabs earlier in her life, but we couldn't do them because we were away in Spain. And if you haven't watched my vlogs, we basically went to Spain for 6 weeks. During my husband's paternity leave, he gets 10 weeks off in total. So we took advantage of that and it was the best time. And if you have the opportunity, go and do that. Go and watch my vlogs to find out how we did it. It was amazing. So that period was brilliant. Then we got back and it was her 4-5 month period. And the 4 and 5 month period has been really hard because we've had a sleep regression. The sleep regression, I think, was kicked off by her jabs. So her jabs basically kicked off sickness and all sorts. And the last 2 weeks specifically have been really hard because it has been night after night after night of different issues. When she had her jabs, the first 3 nights were really, really hard. then we went to Bournemouth to see my friend. We didn't expect the jabs to be difficult because none of the other 2 previous sets of jabs we had issues with. And she just slept and she didn't have any, like, within a few hours she was fine. But nobody really tells you that the 3rd jabs can be really tough, and I would preempt that, because if you have a similar experience where the first 2 sets of jabs are fine and you just accept the 3rd set of jabs to be the same, just mentally prepare and physically prepare for the fact that they might not be, that all hell might break loose. And I think because of the jabs, her immune system dropped. We did them in October, end of October, I want to say, or beginning of November. And as a result, there's lots of colds, flus, viruses in the air. She just got really sick, so she kept getting sick. Her immunity was low because her body was fighting off these viruses that they put into her. And that was it, basically. So she's had a sleep regression as a result. She was waking up every 2 hours on the dot. She was crying, and we've not experienced that at all because she's a really good sleeper. We co-sleep. Go and watch my co-sleeping video if you're interested in finding out about that. And yeah, it's just been a bit rubbish. The next thing to think about is when they get sick. Now, obviously, if you have a summer baby at the end of winter, not a summer baby at the end of, if you have a baby at the end of winter, a lot of their early months will be during hotter months. They're probably less likely to get sick, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing because you want their immunity to build up, but it's a good thing in the sense that they are they're not struggling to breathe. Like the hardest thing is when they're so little and they're really struggling to breathe. Before this sleep regression and this jab palaver, she got sick and I got sick, and I think it was probably COVID or it was something really rough because I've been sick since and it was nowhere near as bad. But she basically couldn't breathe. Like, we had her here and she was because she couldn't breathe from her nose. We had a snot sucker, we had saline solution, we had like plug-in vapor things, and she actually dealt really well with it, bless her, but it was just more stress for us. So mentally prepare for the fact that when babies are sick, it is really rough. Like, you just worry about them. Because you can't do anything to help either. So that's really rubbish. And then I want to say the third thing is the build-up of sleep deprivation because of all of these events. Now, she was in A&E the other day. She rolled off this bed. She was right in the middle, and she's obviously like gone roll, 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 and fallen off, and it sounded really bad. And originally I thought she was okay, but then later on in the night I saw froth in her mouth. Now, it could have been sick, but I thought it could be froth, so we took her to A&E. They said she was fine. They did loads of obs on her. But it was really stressful. And we didn't get home till like midnight. So it's been about 3 or 4 weeks of this irregular sleeping. Sam actually this whole week has slept in the spare room. Luckily we have a spare room. It's actually the office with a kind of sofa bed in. He's been sleeping there so that he can get sleep, and I get much better sleep when he's not in this bed, and it's just us two. So the sleep regression is really tough. It's not the sleep regression, sorry, sleep deprivation is really tough. Now, some people can really cope. My sister-in-law, apparently, she can really cope. I can't. I really can't, and I really valued my sleep before having a baby, and now, although my standard of sleeping is much lower and my acceptance of sleeping is obviously much lower, when it's like regular, consistent waking up because she's crying or something's wrong or you don't go to bed until really late, I really struggle, I really suffer. Same with Sam, and that can really affect your marriage and your relationship. If you are in a relationship and you live with your partner, I personally find that we don't like each other when we're sleep deprived. You do take it out on each other, you resent each other. It can be really hard, and you don't function well. Your hormones are affected, and it can get really rough. So that's kind of the struggles that we faced up until now. The main issues, we've started weaning her. So we're going to wean her just as and when. At the moment, she's not even 6 months yet, and the advice is from 6 months, but we've started on like purees occasionally. I don't do it every day. I can't be bothered because I'm trying to make everything. But I have frozen some broccoli puree, so I actually need, and she really likes that, so I really need to actually defrost each cube each day and try and give it to her. But it's the whole faff of trying to wait for it to defrost, mentally preparing for that, putting her in her high chair, putting her bib on her. Then she gets really messy. Then all I want to do is put her in the bath because I don't want to like wipe clean her down, but I've just got to get used to it as a parent because like, there's going to be many more times where she's dirty. But yeah, that's it. And I think from Monday we're going to start introducing her to our food. I'm just gonna have to like cut down on all of the salt and oil basically, and give her quite raw, not raw, but like unseasoned flavoured food, but that still comes from us, which is going to be hard. But I need to read a book about it because I don't really know the rules. I just know salt's not great. So that's the plan. They're the four main things: sleep deprivation, weaning issues, whether it's just the time spent, the stress of her learning how to chew, because the coughing, choking thing is so stressful. Baby sickness is really, really hard, and dealing with baby post-jabs. They're the four biggest things we've had to struggle with since becoming parents. But apart from that, I do think we've had it really good. We haven't had any other issues. I know there are a lot of other issues that can come with being first-time parents, to having a little one, and I think we're really blessed with those four things, that they're just our struggles. I would also say that probably 99% of people struggle with those four things because they're unavoidable. And that's kind of where we're at the moment. So if you're interested in any of my other kind of stages of breastfeeding or co-sleeping or anything, go and check those videos out. I do have other videos on them. And yeah,